Here you are, gentlemen. Enjoy your lunch.
The woman carrying 2 plates of catfish and grits across the floor of Rosie's Diner on Elm Street in Dallas, Texas, was 7 months pregnant. Her ankles were swollen. Her lower back had been burning since 4 o'clock that morning. And the only thing keeping her standing was the fact that if she sat down, even for 5 minutes, she would lose the only job she had left. Her name was Zara, and the man who had just walked through the front door, the man in the charcoal Tom Ford suit, the man with the $200 haircut and the Patek Philippe on his wrist, the man whose face she had not seen in 5 years, 3 months, and 11 days, was staring at her like he had just seen a ghost. His name was Emeka Udo, and 5 years ago, he had signed the divorce papers on a Tuesday morning, packed 1 suitcase, and walked out of their apartment without looking back. Now he was standing 6 feet away from her, in a diner in Dallas, and she was carrying catfish to table 9 with a baby pressing against her ribs. Their eyes met. Zara's hands did not shake. Her face did not change. She delivered the plates. She said, "Enjoy your meal, sir," to the old man at table 9. She turned. She walked past Emeka like he was furniture. And Emeka, a man who had built a logistics empire worth $1.8 billion, a man who had stared down board members and negotiated government contracts without blinking, felt his legs go weak. He sat in the nearest booth. He did not order. He just watched her move through the diner, refilling coffee, clearing plates, smiling at strangers. And he felt something crack open inside his chest that he had spent 5 years bricking shut. But before you understand what happened in that diner, before you understand why Emeka left, why Zara was alone, and why the truth almost destroyed them both, you need to go back 5 years. To the night everything fell apart, and to the woman who made sure it did. Emeka Udo met Zara Mensah in the summer of 2018 at a friend's cookout in Oak Cliff, a neighborhood on the south side of Dallas. He was 27. She was 24. He was running a small trucking company out of a warehouse near the port of Houston. She was finishing her nursing degree at UT Southwestern. He noticed her before she noticed him. She was standing by the grill arguing with someone about whether jollof rice needed tomato paste or fresh tomatoes. She was winning the argument. She was laughing while she won. And something about the way she threw her head back when she laughed, open, unguarded, full, made Emeka forget what he had been saying mid-sentence. He walked over. He introduced himself. She looked him up and down and said, "You look like you've never made jollof in your life." "I haven't." "Then you have no business standing this close to the grill." He laughed. She didn't, but her eyes were smiling. They talked for 3 hours that night. He drove her home. She didn't invite him in. He called her the next day. She didn't answer. He called again. She picked up on the 4th ring and said, "You're persistent. Only when it matters." She paused. Then she said, "Then pick me up at 7 and bring tomato paste." They were married 14 months later. A small ceremony at a church in Cedar Hill. 40 guests. Her mother flew in from Accra. His mother came up from Houston. Zara wore white. Emeka cried during his vows. Everyone said they had never seen a man look at a woman the way Emeka looked at Zara. And for 2 years, it was everything. They lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in uptown Dallas. Zara finished her nursing degree and got a job at Parkland Hospital. Emeka's trucking company, Udo Freight Solutions, started growing. He landed a contract with a distribution company in Fort Worth, then one in San Antonio, then a bigger one in Oklahoma City. The money wasn't life-changing yet, but it was real. Steady. They were building. They talked about kids, about a house, and about the life they were going to create. And then Folak showed up. Folak Akwu was Emeka's cousin. She had grown up with him in Houston. Same neighborhood, same church, same family gatherings every Sunday. She was 3 years older than him and had always treated him like a little brother, protective, opinionated, and deeply involved in every decision he made. She moved to Dallas in early 2021. She said she needed a fresh start after a bad breakup. Emeka offered her the spare bedroom. Zara agreed because she loved Emeka and trusted his family. That was the first mistake. Folake was polite at first. She helped around the apartment. She cooked dinner sometimes. She complimented Zara's hair. She asked about her shifts at the hospital. But underneath the smiles, Folake was studying, watching, measuring. She saw how much Emeka loved Zara, and it made her sick. Not because she wanted Emeka for herself. Not like that. But because Folake had always been the most important woman in Emeka's life. The one he called for advice. The one he ran decisions by. The one who approved or disapproved. And now Zara had taken that place, and Folake could not accept it. It started small, comments disguised as concern. Zara seems tired all the time. Is she okay? I just want to make sure she's not overwhelmed. I noticed she didn't cook tonight. Is she eating enough? You're working so hard. She should be taking better care of you. She went out with her friends again. 3rd time this week. I'm not saying anything. I just noticed things. Emeka brushed it off at first. She works 12-hour shifts, Folake. She's allowed to be tired. But Folake was patient. She didn't push. She planted, and she waited for the seeds to grow. By the summer of 2021, the comments had become sharper. Emeka, I saw Zara's phone on the counter. She got 3 messages from someone named Darnell. Do you know a Darnell? Emeka frowned. She has co-workers, male and female. I know. I'm just looking out for you. Darnell was a charge nurse at Parkland. He worked the same rotation as Zara. They were colleagues. Nothing more. But Folake didn't mention that part. She just mentioned the name, and the frequency, and the late-night shift schedules that kept Zara away until 2 in the morning. I'm not saying anything is happening, Folake would say, lowering her voice. But I've seen this before. And I love you too much to let you be blind. Emeka started watching. Not obviously. But the questions changed. Who's Darnell? Zara looked up from her plate. He's a nurse. We work together. Why? Just asking. Emeka, why are you asking? No reason. But there was a reason. And its name was Folake. The breaking point came in September 2021. Emeka came home from a 3-day trip to San Antonio. He was exhausted. He walked into the apartment expecting to find Zara. The apartment was empty. It was 11 at night. He called her. No answer. He called again. Nothing. He sat on the couch and waited. By midnight, the familiar darkness of suspicion had crawled into his chest and made itself at home. Folake came out of the spare bedroom in a robe. She's not home? No. Again? Emeka said nothing. Folake sat next to him. Emeka, I didn't want to show you this, but I think you need to see it. She held out her phone. On the screen was a photo. Zara standing outside a restaurant on McKinney Avenue. Next to her was a tall man. His hand was on her lower back. They were laughing. That's Darnell, Folake said. Emeka stared at the photo. His jaw tightened. When was this? Tuesday, while you were in San Antonio. Emeka took the phone. He zoomed in. The image was slightly blurry, taken from across the street. But it was Zara, and it was a man, and his hand was on her back. What the photo didn't show was the context. That night, 5 nurses from Parkland had gone out for dinner to celebrate a co-worker's promotion. Darnell was one of them. His hand on Zara's back was guiding her past a puddle on the sidewalk. There were 3 other people standing just outside the frame. But Folake had cropped the photo. And a cropped photo tells whatever story you want it to tell. Zara came home at 12:30 a.m. She had picked up an extra shift. A trauma case came in at 9. She didn't get to leave until midnight. She walked in tired. She found Amika sitting in the dark. "Baby, why are you sitting in the... Where were you Tuesday night?" She blinked. "Tuesday? I went to dinner with people from work. I told you, I texted you." "With Darnell?" Something shifted in the room. Zara put her bag down slowly. "Emeka, what is this?" "Just answer the question." "Yes, Darnell was there, along with Priya and Marcus and Tanya. It was a group dinner. What is going on?" He showed her the photo. Zara looked at it. Her face went from confusion to understanding to fury in about 3 seconds. "Who took this? Does it matter?" "Yes, it matters. Because someone cropped this photo to make it look like something it's not. There were 5 of us at that dinner. 5. Whoever took this wanted you to see exactly this. Who gave it to you?" Amika didn't answer, but his eyes flickered toward the hallway, toward the spare bedroom. Zara's jaws set. "Folake, she's looking out for me. She's destroying us. Amika, can't you see what she's doing? Every week it's something. A comment, a question, a look. She's been poisoning you against me since the day she moved in. She's family, Zara. And I'm your wife." The argument lasted 2 hours. It ended with silence. The kind of silence that's louder than screaming. Zara slept on the couch that night. Over the next 3 months, the marriage disintegrated. Folake's campaign was relentless. Every small thing became evidence. Zara worked late, suspicious. Zara went to the gym. Who was she meeting? Zara bought new clothes. Who was she dressing up for? And Amika, who had never been insecure before, who had always trusted Zara completely, slowly became someone he didn't recognize. Checking her phone, questioning her schedule, going quiet for days. Zara begged him to go to counseling. He refused. She begged him to ask Folake to leave. He refused. She told him plainly one night in November, with tears running down her face, "If you believe her over me, then you have already left this marriage." Emeka looked at her, and he said the words that ended everything. "Maybe I should." The divorce papers were filed in December 2021. Zara signed them in January 2022. She moved out of the uptown apartment on a Tuesday morning. She took 1 suitcase, 3 boxes, and the ring off her finger. Emeka didn't watch her leave. He was already on a plane to Atlanta. A new contract, a bigger warehouse. The beginning of what would become Udo Global Freight, a company that, within 4 years, would grow into one of the largest private logistics firms in the South. Zara went back to work. She picked up extra shifts. She moved into a studio apartment off Greenville Avenue. She paid her own rent. She bought her own groceries. She cried every night for 3 months. Then she stopped crying. She built a wall, and behind that wall, she survived. Now, if you're feeling something right now, if something inside you is tight, if you want to reach through this story and shake someone, hold on to that. Because what Folake did hasn't caught up to her yet. But it will. And if you want to see how fate handles people who destroy love for sport, Make sure you're subscribed and that notification bell is on. Because we're just getting started. 3 years passed. Emeka moved to Atlanta full-time. The company exploded. He landed a contract with the Department of Defense. Then a deal with Amazon's regional distribution network. Then a partnership with the Port Authority of Savannah. The revenue doubled, then tripled, then went vertical. By 2025, Udo Global Freight had 200 trucks, 31 warehouses, and contracts in 14 states. Emeka's net worth crossed $1.8 billion. He bought a penthouse in Buckhead. He drove a matte black Range Rover. He sat on the boards of 2 nonprofits and donated $6 million to an education fund for West African immigrants. From the outside, he had everything. But he hadn't been on a single date in 5 years. He hadn't let anyone close. He worked 16-hour days. He slept 5 hours a night. And every now and then, usually at 3 in the morning when the penthouse was too quiet, he would open his phone and stare at the last photo he had of Zara. The one from their wedding, her in white, him crying. He never deleted it. Folake, meanwhile, had stayed in Dallas. She had moved into the uptown apartment after Zara left. Emeka paid her rent. He sent her money every month. He still called her for advice. She was still the voice in his ear, and she was thriving. New car, new wardrobe, vacations to Cancun and Miami on Emeka's credit card. She told people she was in consulting. She consulted no one. She lived off her cousin's guilt and generosity and never once felt the weight of what she had done. Not yet. Zara's life went the other direction. After the divorce, she kept working at Parkland for 2 more years. Then budget cuts hit. Her department was restructured. She was laid off in March 2024. She applied to 14 hospitals, got callbacks from 2, offers from 0. Her savings ran out by summer. She moved to a smaller apartment, then a room she rented from an older woman in Oak Cliff. She picked up work where she could find it, temp agency shifts, home care nursing, a few weeks at a walk-in clinic that paid cash. In October 2025, she found out she was pregnant. The father was a man named Jerome, a paramedic she had dated briefly over the summer. And when she told him about the baby, he stopped answering his phone. She went to his apartment. His roommate said he had moved to Phoenix. No forwarding address. Zara sat in her car outside that apartment for 45 minutes. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat there. Then she drove to the nearest diner with a help wanted sign in the window. Rosie's Diner, corner of Elm and Harwood, downtown Dallas. She started the next morning. 6 days a week. Breakfast and lunch shifts. Minimum wage plus tips. On her feet for 8 hours straight. 7 months pregnant. And that's where we find her. That's where Emeka finds her. On a random Tuesday in July 2026. Standing in a diner he had never been to before. In a city he hadn't visited in 5 years. He carrying plates of catfish to strangers because the father of her child disappeared, and the husband who should have protected her had believed a cropped photograph over 7 years of love. Emeka sat in that booth for 22 minutes before Zara came to take his order. She walked up with her notepad. Professional. No emotion on her face. What can I get you? It wasn't a question. It was a wall. Zara, this is Rosie's Diner. We've got catfish, burgers, and a soup of the day. What can I get you? Zara, please. I'm working. Her voice was low, controlled. If you're not ordering, I have other tables. He looked at her, at the apron stretched across her belly, at the swollen ankles and flat shoes, at the dark circles under her eyes. At the woman he had married, the woman he had abandoned. He's standing in front of him in a grease-stained uniform, taking orders for $8 an hour. Coffee, he said. Black, She wrote it down. She walked away. Emeka pulled out his phone. His hands were trembling. He called his assistant. "Cancel everything today. Clear my schedule. I'm in Dallas." "Sir, you have the Savannah port call at..." "Cancel it." He hung up. He sat there. He drank the coffee she brought him. He left a $100 bill on the table. He walked outside and sat in his rental car in the parking lot. And he waited. At 3:15 p.m., Zara walked out the back door of the diner. She had changed out of her uniform into a loose gray dress and sneakers. Her bag hung over one shoulder. She moved slowly, carefully, one hand on her belly. She saw him leaning against the car. She stopped. "No," she said. "I just want to talk." "No. 5 minutes." "You had 5 years, Emeka. You don't get 5 minutes." She started walking. He followed. Not close, not aggressive, but present. "I know I don't deserve it. I know that. But please, just let me drive you home. You shouldn't be walking in this heat." "I've been walking in worse." "Zara." She turned, and for the first time, the wall cracked. Just a fracture. But he saw it. "What do you want, Emeka? You want to feel better? You want to ease your conscience? Look at me. Look at where I am. Does this make you feel better?" "It makes me feel like I destroyed the best thing I ever had." She stared at him. The heat rose off the asphalt in waves between them. "You did?" Silence. Long, heavy. Dallas traffic humming in the background. Then she said, 5 minutes, in the car, fun with the air conditioning on, because my feet are about to fall off." They sat in the rental car, engine running, a sea on full. Zara leaned the seat back and closed her eyes. "Talk," she said. And Emeka talked. He told her about Atlanta, about the company, about the money that meant nothing, about the penthouse that felt like a prison, about the 3 a.m. silence that ate him alive. "I haven't been with anyone," he said. "Not once. In 5 years. That's not my problem. I know. I'm just telling you." "Why?" "Because I need you to know that what I did, leaving you, believing Folaka, it's the thing I regret most in my life. More than anything. I wake up with it. I go to sleep with it. And now I'm sitting here looking at you pregnant and working in a diner, and I know, this is my fault." Zara opened her eyes. She looked at him. "Idas, it's not all your fault. Life happened. I got laid off. I made my own choices. I'm not your project, Emeka. I'm not something you get to fix to feel better about yourself. I'm not trying to fix you. I'm trying to tell you the truth. The truth is 5 years late." "I know." She was quiet for a while. Then she said something that hit him harder than anything else. "The worst part wasn't the divorce. The worst part was knowing you chose her word over mine. I was your wife. I had never lied to you. Not once. And you threw it all away because your cousin showed you a blurry picture outside a restaurant." Emeka's jaw tightened. His eyes were wet. "I know. Do you? Do you really? Because I spent 2 years wondering what I did wrong. 2 years thinking maybe I should have fought harder, explained better, been more patient. And then one morning I woke up and realized I didn't do anything wrong. You just didn't trust me enough. And no amount of explaining can fix that." The AC hummed. A truck rolled past on Elm Street. "You're right," Emeka said. "You did nothing wrong, and I will carry that for the rest of my life." Zara wiped her eyes quickly, efficiently, like she had practiced not letting tears stay too long. "I need to go home. I have a shift at 6 tomorrow morning." "Let me drive you." "Fine." He drove her to the small house in Oak Cliff, a modest one-story with a chain-link fence and a cracked driveway. She rented the back room from an elderly woman named Mrs. Tate. He pulled up. She opened the door. Then she paused. "Emeka." "Yeah?" "Don't come back to the diner. I can't do my job with you sitting there looking at me like that." She closed the door. She walked inside. She didn't look back. Emeka drove to his hotel. He sat on the bed. He didn't sleep. At 6 in the morning, he made a phone call. Not to Zara, not to his assistant, not to his board. He called a private investigator. "I need you to look into something for me." September 2021. A photograph that was taken outside a restaurant on McKinney Avenue in Dallas. "I need to know who took it, how it was taken, and what was actually happening that night." The investigator's name was Bankole Adeyemi, ex-FBI, Nigerian-American, based in Houston. He was the best in Texas, and everyone in private security knew it. "Give me 72 hours, Bankole said. It took 48. Bankole called Emeka on a Thursday evening. His voice was flat, professional, the way it always got when the news was bad. "I pulled the metadata from the original image file. Your cousin Folake sent it to you from her phone. But she didn't take it. She paid someone, a man named Curtis Webb. He's a freelance photographer who does insurance fraud surveillance. She hired him to follow your ex-wife for 3 weeks in August and September of 2021. Emeka closed his eyes. The photo was taken on September 14th. Your wife was at a group dinner. 5 co-workers from Parkland Hospital celebrating a promotion. The man in the photo is Darnell Okoye, a charge nurse. His hand is on her back because he's guiding her around a puddle on the sidewalk. There are 3 other people standing 2 feet away, just outside the frame. The image was deliberately cropped to remove them. Emeka was silent. There's more. I pulled Folake's phone records for that period. She made 23 calls to Curtis Webb between August and November 2021. She also sent 6 payments to his Venmo account totaling $4,200. And there are text messages. What do they say? I'll read you the relevant one. Dated September 15th, from Folake to Curtis. Quote, "The restaurant photo is perfect. He'll lose his mind. This marriage is done by Christmas." End quote. Emeka put the phone down on the desk. He pressed both hands flat against the surface. He breathed in. He breathed out. Then he picked the phone back up. "Send me everything, every record, every photo, every text, everything. Already in your inbox." Emeka hung up. He opened his laptop. He read through the entire file, every page, every message, every payment receipt. And then he did something he hadn't done in 5 years. He called Folake. She answered on the first ring, cheerful, easy, the way she always was. "Hey, cousin. I was just thinking about you. When are you coming to visit? I found this amazing new, I know what you did." Silence. "I know about Curtis Webb. I know about the cropped photo. I know about the 23 phone calls and the $4,200 and the text message where you said my marriage would be done by Christmas." More silence. Longer this time. "Emeka, that's not whoever told you." Folake, stop. His voice wasn't angry. That was the terrifying part. It was calm, empty. The voice of a man who had passed through rage and come out the other side into something colder. "You destroyed my marriage. You took the woman I loved and you lied. Systematically, deliberately, until I pushed her away. You watched me sign those papers. You moved into our apartment before her side of the bed was cold. And you've been spending my money and smiling in my face for 5 years, while Zara..." His voice cracked. Just once. He caught it. while Zara was waitressing pregnant in a diner. Folek started crying. I was trying to protect you. She wasn't good enough for you. I could see it. She was going to hold you back. She was the best thing that ever happened to me. And you knew it. That's why you did it. Emika, please. The apartment lease is terminated. Your cards are canceled. The monthly transfers stop today. I'm sending someone to collect the car. You have 72 hours. You can't, Emika, I'm your family. You were my family. Now you're the woman who cost me 5 years with my wife. He hung up. He sat in the hotel room for a long time after that. The Dallas skyline was orange and purple through the window. The city he had left. The city where everything had gone wrong. And the city where Zara was sleeping right now in a rented back room with a baby pressing against her ribs and no one in the world to help her. The next morning, Emika went back to Rosie's diner. Zara saw him walk in. Her face hardened. I told you not to come back here. I know, and I'm sorry, but I need to show you something. He placed a folder on the counter. Inside was everything. The investigator's report, the phone records, the payment receipts, the text messages, the uncropped photograph showing 5 people standing outside the restaurant on McKinney Avenue. And what is this? The truth. 5 years too late. Zara opened the folder. She read slowly. Her face changed with every page. Confusion, recognition, pain, and finally, something that looked like relief. She hired someone, Zara said softly. She actually hired someone to follow me. For 3 weeks. And the photo, cropped, deliberately. There were 5 of you at that dinner. Zara put the folder down. She pressed her hands against the counter. She was breathing hard. 5 years, she whispered. I lost 5 years of my life because of a cropped photograph. We both did. She looked at him, really looked at him. And the wall she had built brick by brick, the wall that had kept her standing through the divorce, the loneliness, the layoff, the pregnancy, and the diner developed a crack that ran from top to bottom. I need to sit down, she said. The manager, a heavy-set woman named Rosie herself, saw Zara's face and came over immediately. Take your break, baby. I got your tables. Zara sat in the back booth. Emika sat across from her, the folder between them. What do you want from me, Emika? Honestly, what do you want? I want to make this right. Not because I deserve it, but because you deserve it. You can't undo 5 years. No. But I can make sure you never stand on swollen ankles serving catfish for $8 an hour again. I don't want your money. I know you don't. That's one of the reasons I've never been able to forget you. She almost smiled. Almost. The baby, he said carefully. Is there someone? No. He left. Emika nodded, and he didn't ask anything else about it. He didn't need to. Let me help. Not as your husband. Not as anything you don't want me to be. Just as someone who owes you more than he can ever repay. Zara was quiet for a long time. The diner hummed around them. Plates clinking, coffee brewing, the radio playing something soft and old. You can start, she said, by sitting here and not talking for 5 minutes. Because I haven't had 5 minutes of silence in 7 months. He sat. He didn't talk. He watched her close her eyes and lean her head back against the vinyl booth and breathe. 5 minutes became 10. 10 became 15. Then she opened her eyes. Okay, she said. Okay, what? Okay, you can drive me home after my shift. And tomorrow you can bring me that Nigerian pepper soup your mother used to make. The one with the goat meat. Because this baby wants it, and I've been craving it for 3 weeks, and I can't find it anywhere in Dallas. Emeka laughed. For the first time in longer than he could remember, he laughed and meant it. I'll have it here by noon. It better be hot. It'll be hot. She stood up. She straightened her apron. She picked up her notepad. And Emeka. Yeah? If you ever believe a cropped photograph over me again, I will disappear so completely not even your $1 billion will find me. Understood. She went back to work. He stayed in the booth. He ordered the catfish and grits. He ate every bite. He left a $500 tip folded inside the napkin. And the next day, true to his word, he showed up at noon with 2 containers of pepper soup. Hot, fragrant, rich with goat meat and Scotch bonnet peppers. Made by a Nigerian woman he found through 3 phone calls and a prayer. Zara tasted it. She closed her eyes, and for one brief, sacred moment, she looked like the woman at the cookout in Oak Cliff who had thrown her head back and laughed about jollof rice. Emeka saw it, and he swore on everything he had, every truck, every warehouse, every dollar, that he would spend the rest of his life earning back what Folake had stolen. 2 weeks later, Zara quit Rosie's diner. Not because Emeka told her to, but because he had rented her a 2-bedroom apartment in a safe building in Lakewood with a nursery already set up. He asked her permission first. She said yes only after she had inspected it herself and confirmed there was a kitchen big enough to cook in. If I'm going to accept help, she said, standing in the middle of the empty living room, I'm going to do it on my terms. I wouldn't expect anything less. She moved in on a Saturday. Mrs. Tate, her old landlady, cried and hugged her and said, "Baby, you deserve every good thing that's coming." Emeka did not move in. He did not push. He visited when she invited him. He brought food when she asked. He went to her doctor's appointment when she said, "I don't want to go alone." He sat in the waiting room reading a magazine about infant car seats and didn't complain once. They were not back together, not officially, but something was growing in the space between them, something cautious and fragile and real. As for Folake, she did not go quietly. She called Emeka 47 times in the first week after he cut her off. He didn't answer. She sent emails. He didn't read them. She showed up at his Atlanta office. Security turned her away at the lobby. She posted on social media, long rambling messages about family loyalty and betrayal, about how Emeka had abandoned her, about how Zara had manipulated him. Nobody responded. Nobody cared. The apartment in Uptown was emptied. The car was repossessed. The credit cards were canceled. The monthly transfers stopped. For the first time in 5 years, Folake Okwu had to stand on her own 2 feet. She lasted 3 weeks before she called Emeka one final time. He answered. "I just want to say I'm sorry," she said. Her voice was hoarse, stripped of performance. "I don't need your apology, Folake. Zara does." Silence. Call her. Tell her the truth. All of it. Not for me, for yourself. Because you're going to carry this for the rest of your life if you don't. He hung up. Whether Folake ever made that call, that's between her and God. But what matters is this. The damage she did, the 5 years she stole, the love she tried to kill. None of it worked. Not in the end. Because Zara was strong enough to survive it, and Emeka was honest enough to face it. On a warm evening in August, Zara went into labor. Emeka drove her to the hospital. He stayed in the room. She held his hand, not because they were together, but because he was there and he was steady, and that was enough. The baby was born at 4:17 a.m. A girl, 6 pounds, 11 ounces. Perfect. Zara named her Amina. When the nurse placed the baby in Zara's arms, Emeka stood by the window. He didn't crowd the moment. He didn't claim it. He just watched. Zara looked up at him, tired, radiant, stronger than anyone he had ever known. "You want to hold her?" He walked over. He took the baby. She weighed almost nothing. She had Zara's nose. Her eyes were closed. Her fist was curled around a fold of the hospital blanket. Something broke inside him. The last wall. The last brick. "Hey, Amina," he whispered. "I'm going to take very good care of your mother. That's a promise." Zara reached up and touched his arm. "We'll see," she said. But she was smiling. If Folake had never cropped that photograph, Emeka and Zara might have had 10 years together by now. They might have had their own children, their own home, a life that was never interrupted. But fate works differently than we plan. It doesn't always protect us from pain. Sometimes it walks us through the fire first. And then, only then, does it hand us back what was ours all along. Emeka didn't get Zara back because he was rich. He got her back because he was willing to face the truth. Because he showed up at a diner with nothing to offer but honesty. Because he sat in a booth for 5 minutes and said nothing. And that silence meant more than 5 years of money ever could. And Zara didn't forgive him because he earned it. She forgave him because carrying the anger was heavier than carrying the baby. And she was tired of being strong for the wrong reasons. If you want to see who fate visits next, subscribe and hit that bell. Because in these stories, the ones who lie and scheme and destroy, they always lose. And the ones who love honestly, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, they always find their way back. Always.
Años exactamente, bueno, no exactamente, ¿no? Un grupo de soñadores en La Paz decidió fundar algo que trascendería generaciones. El glorioso Club Bolívar. No imaginaron que... Oye, me he esforzado al hacer el discurso. ¿Qué ponen ZZ, chat? Basta, me he esforzado, se los juro que me he esforzado, bro, basta. Por favor, me he esforzado en el discurso, respétenme un poquito, chat. Bueno, igual lo voy a leer, me la chupan, la verdad. Chat, nefastos. Son unos envidiosos, ¿saben? Son unos envidiosos. ¿En qué me quedé? No imaginaron que ese nombre se convertiría en un sinónimo de grandeza, lucha y de orgullo nacional. 101 años después, Bolívar no es solo un club, es un sentimiento que se hereda, que se sufre y se celebra. Últimamente sufrimos mucho por Robato, ¿no? Es el latido de miles de hinchas que en cada victoria y en cada caída nunca abandonan, ¿verdad? Nomás. Porque ser celeste no es una elección, es una forma de vivir. Muy bien, qué lindo, un aplauso. Bravo, bravo. Muchachos, tremendo discurso. Buenas noches, Dieguito, ¿cómo estás? Por lo menos ponte tu chompita, pues, un busito para leer el discurso. A ver, cállate, Gabo, ¿vos quieres ser baneado? Este discurso lo he hecho en mi cama, pensando en lo que es ser bolivarista, la verdad. Un aplauso, por favor, y con ayuda también del gran ChatGPT. Un aplauso para ChatGPT. Ah, ¿cuál era la finalización? De un ratito, dice. Que estos 101 años sean solo el comienzo de muchas más llenos de alegría. Felicidades, Academia. Felicidades, Bolívar. ¡Bravo! Aplausos para ChatGPT, muchachos. Para vos no, dice. Buenas noches, muchachos, ¿cómo están? Gracias por estar aquí, perdón por prender tan tarde. La verdad estaba viendo mi serie, estaba viendo el regreso de Justin Bieber. Bueno, toda la tarde me vi fútbol, hasta vi el partido del Tigre, vi el partido de River, vi el partido de Oriente, las declaraciones de Martins, tremendo lo de Martins, bebé, le tiró palo a Villegas, pero bien tirado. Huevada, en su cama lo hizo todo pajeado pensando en el... No, ¿qué dice este Arielito? Oye, ¿quiénes vamos, no? Mi sobrino de quién redacta mejor. Dile eso a ChatGPT, yo no he redactado. ¿Qué me estás molestando a mí? Felicidades. Qué pasado. Pues la verdad nomás. ¿Qué quieren que les diga? A ver, ¿qué les puedo decir, muchachos? Yo no publiqué nada en mi página, la verdad no hice nada estos días. Han sido momentos difíciles. Bien triste, ¿no? Mentira. Pero no, muchachos, bueno. Quiero felicitar a todos los que son bolivaristas y hoy en día más que nunca, ¿no? Que es difícil ser bolivarista en el sentido de todo el contexto que estamos pasando con el técnico. Pero si lo ven por el otro lado también hay que sentirnos orgullosos porque hemos llegado a estos 101 años. Creo que como la institución mejor parada, tanto económicamente, futbolísticamente y dirigencialmente diría, pero no, creo que no, ahí nos falta, ¿no? Ese eslabón para poder ser una institución sólida. Y como ayer creo que lo decía Dardo Gómez en su publicación en el Cholet, que Dios mío, ¿de dónde cagan tanta plata, bebés? Más fuegos pirotécnicos que en el aniversario de La Paz, no mames. Tremendo, felicidades a los del Cholet y a ver si pasan pues algunos moneys. No mentira. Que dijo que el dirigente tiene que estar siempre al lado del hincha. Y eso es mucha verdad. Y no es por darle palo a Claure, porque él tendrá sus funciones, las cosas que tienen que hacer. Pero creo que por esa parte que estoy... Uy, ¿qué? No, todavía no va a arrancar la fiesta, Tucán, tranquilo. y por esa parte creo que está bien, ¿no? Está bien. Y bueno, se vienen unas futuras elecciones donde el principal candidato es Dardo Gómez a seguir manejando lo que es este club tan bonito que es Bolívar, ¿no? Por detrás, obviamente, yo creo que tiene que haber gente que lo asesore. Espera, ¿mi gatita se echó pipí? No, ya, más bien. Me ha asustado, chicos, la verdad, me ha asustado. Ya saben ustedes, rayada está mi gatita últimamente, ¿no? No, ¿qué dice este Eddie Pox? Y bueno, muchachos, nos espera, creo, un futuro grandioso. Yo lo dije, creo que esta es una oportunidad ya con el Stadium de una vez establecernos como un club de fútbol, pero serio, y fuera de ser autosostenible, que se proyecte a más, ¿me entiendes? No estancarnos en solo ser un club boliviano, sino ya empezar a soñar con, no sé, a ver, por ejemplo, la venta de butacas en el estadio, venta de marketing, merchandising, que se vaya ampliando más las sociedades, ¿me entienden? O sea, yo creo que si una cabeza maneja bien todo eso, creo que podemos despegar, ¿me entiendes? Y no estar ahí creando leyes de mierda con el gobierno, pidiendo perdón para que nos perdonen los impuestos, ¿no? Los gatos, ¿no? Entonces, creo que, o ser un club que está a punto de desaparecer, como Wilstermann, que desapareció de la liga, pero está a punto de desaparecer, pero absolutamente de todo el fútbol. O ser clubes que le están mangueando el auspicio a la UTV y chupándosela al presidente de la federación por subsistir. Entonces, creo que Bolívar es muy grande y tiene, creo que, trascender. Eso es lo que nos falta, trascender, dar ese pasito para trascender y lograr los objetivos que siempre hemos querido, ya sea una Copa Sudamericana o una Copa Libertadores, ¿no? Y siempre tiene que ir de la mano. Estos últimos años, creo que es la verdad, se han ido alejando a las generaciones bolivaristas, al hincha común, al hincha fanático, a todos los tipos de hinchas se han ido alejando del club por justamente el mal trabajo que se ha ido realizando estos últimos años en Bolívar. ¿Qué decía Valdivia? Creo que dijo que dejó un club autosostenible. O sea, sí, no vamos a decir que no. Económicamente creo que se dejó un club autosostenible. A ver, Solís, no pidas Gartic. Ya les he dicho qué cosa de Gartic. Hoy día es aniversario del club. Déjame hablar a ver de mi club, Solís. Igual en el grupo de WhatsApp. No, Tucán, jugaremos Gartic. No quiero dibujar huevadas. Déjame, no voy a jugar Gartic. Ya les he dicho, si quieren dibujar, agarren un cuadernito y empiezan a dibujar sus huevadas. No me vengan a molestar a mí con su Gartic. Saludos, Reyisita. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Todo bien? Gartic, temática Bolívar. No, métanse su Gartic por el poto, ya les he dicho. Y bueno, muchachos, ¿en qué estaba? Es que me enerva, muchachos, cada vez Gartic. Basta, no quiero jugar Gartic. Vayan a jugar Gartic con sus minas. Goclingo, huevadas hablas. Ya, espera, ¿qué habla este Ignacio Loza? Este Auri. Y bueno, muchachos, creo que sí, yo me quedo con eso. Este martes tenemos un partido muy importante en lo económico. Para mí, muy importante para ver qué está el club de cara a este año, porque creo que es indispensable ganarle a ese equipo. en Copa Libertadores, obviamente por los 3 puntos y más. Pero pensando a futuro, creo que es muy importante que se vea buen fútbol, ¿no? Y que la gente ya esté un poquito más tranquila con el funcionamiento del equipo. Ayer contra Bebé, bueno, el día sábado contra Bebé, se jugó un buen partido, no digo que un malo partido. Creo que empezaron a aparecer personas, o bueno, jugadores que no estaban apareciendo, como es el Papu Velázquez y muchos más, ¿no? Entonces, interesante. Y bueno, apareció Cauterucho, que en el partido de Libertadores no había aparecido ni de sombra. Parece que Cauterucho solo le mete goles a equipos como ABB. Y preocupa un poquito eso, ¿no? Hoy ganó el Tigre, está puntero con nosotros. Nacional Potosí también está compartiendo la punta con nosotros y muchos más que vienen bien entonándose en lo que es este torneo, ¿no? Que empezó retardísimo y creo que nos va a pesar no solo a nosotros, sino a los demás equipos que están participando en copas internacionales, ya sea Blooming el caso, ¿no? Y otros más. Mete gol equipos chicos como Dornino, pero Dorni ni jugó. ¿Qué dicen, chicos? ¿Qué dicen? La era Robato es la peor de todos los tiempos, bebé, tomando en cuenta el centenario que es una vez en la vida. Sí, es la peor. De los últimos 10 años, ¿se podría decir que lo de Robato es lo peor que nos pudo pasar?